Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make your own sandboard. So it's basically a snowboard but for use on sand dunes. So you've got sand dunes around you, it's pretty good practice for snowboarding and training for snowboarding. They come in a variety of sizes. There's a pretty small one. This is a big full-size one. It's actually, I made it off my snowboard, so it's the same size as a full-size snowboard. Materials you'll need. You'll need a reasonably large size piece of plywood, a sheet of formica, a jigsaw, a file, some clamps, and some screws. Start by marking out your profile onto the plywood. I like to start by using a rule to get key points, and then a guide curve to work out my curve. So the board length will be about, for this short board, around 120 centimeters. So 1.2 meters, or in feet, that's 4 feet roughly. So board will be about this short, around 1 meters. So 1.2 meters, or in feet, 4 feet. So measure back, yeah, cross. And there we have a tip profile. The sides can then be done in a similar approach by measuring back a distance, and then measuring in a distance until you get your required side cut. About this short, around 1 meters. So 1 meters, or in feet, 4 feet. So measure back, yeah, cross. Jigsaw this profile out. When you've cut out your profile, you should have a board that looks something like this. And then you can start marking up the tips for bending. I'm going to be bending this board in 2 sections. So I've ruled lines here and here. So that will allow me to bend both along this plate and then here. That will give me a nice smooth curve. After smoothing over the edges with the file, place the board in a bucket of water. Now that our tip is soaked for 2 hours, we're going to put it in the press. So to make a press, just get 2 bits of timber and 2 sawhorses. Place the board along the length of the timber, and then weight the board down at the back. Place piece of timber across the top along our line we previously marked out. Clamp this piece of timber to the main timber block below it. Tighten the clamps uniformly, making sure that you constantly check that the bend is square. After the board is finished pressing for around 15 hours, loosen the clamps. This will give you a nice initial tip press, as you can see here. It's been a few days. I've pressed the tips, so now we have a nice board with raised tips on either end. Both, you can see a slight curve from the 2-stage press. Now that we've bent the tips and put some nice rocker in it, I'm going to paint it. So the paint scheme I'm going to be using this is all black with 2 red racing stripes. I'm going to be using some Dakin sandboarding straps. Place your bindings in place and mark the hole locations. Using a drill press, drill the holes. Using a large drill bit, counterbore the holes on the bottom. Thread the bolts into the board. Fit washers to the protruding bolts and screw down some nuts on them. In order to attach the formica, spread contact adhesive on both the board and the formica sheet. Once the contact adhesive is dried, separate the 2 surfaces by dowels. Then slowly roll the formica onto the board, pulling out the dowels as you go. Trim off the edges of the excess formica with the jigsaw. File the edges until they are relatively smooth. Place the foot pad over the bolts. File flatter washer to use for the central bolt. Then place some nylock nuts over the washers. There you have it. One finished and professional looking sandboard.